For today is the power of letting go. And I'm Nitya Kishori. So the today's agenda, the outline of the discussion is what is letting go and what it is not. Because there are some misconception about letting go. So why one should let go. So that is it. And why is it difficult to let go? And why should we let go? What happens if we don't let go? And how can we let go? So yes, so before we begin, so I would like to ask you, we have chat, so you can post it in your chat, your answer. So if there is something that is holding you, like if you can imagine, think of some incident or some person you're not able to forgive, you're not able to get over that circumstance or that person. So what is that feeling you have? If it is so, like if you have such a thing, and then how do you feel about it? So can you please type in the chat? Open, audible? Yeah. Anger, painful, irritating, anger, resentment. Yes. Yes, irritation. Yes. So what do you think of it? Like, do you think it is a good feeling, or it is a bad feeling? It is pulling you down from your normal self? So agitated, irritation. Yes. So yes, it is bad feeling. So we don't give any happiness or anything good. We don't feel good about it, like thinking of it now. So we understand that, it is not a good thing to hold things to ourselves, to hold on to things. So it is not bringing any good. So that's the reason we are here to find out, like there is actually some power in it. That's why the topic itself is like power of letting go. So there is something that we get, some strength we get when we let go of things. So we will see what it is. So yes, so what is letting go? What is it? It is like giving up our negative emotions. So when we let go of things, we are actually forgiving not the person or the situation, but ourselves. Because when we hold on to things, what happens is like that person may not even know how we are feeling, but then we are actually punishing ourselves of that incident, of that situation, of that resentfulness. And then we get a lot of focus in our life when we let go of things. And then it will also help us to face any difficulty. It makes us resilient. And then it elevates our consciousness. So these are some of the things that happens like when we let go. And then there is also some misconception about letting go. People think that we are weak. We can be easily, they can easily achieve anything out of us. Like we can give up easily. So, but, and then it may also look like we are in favor of whatever bad thing is happening. So it may appear like when we let go, and maybe somebody who is a fighter may not be able to accept it when we let go of things. So there are people who want rights, who fight for rights, who want things to be, right always, and then need justice. So they fight for it. So, and it may appear that we are being exploited by the person who is being mean to us, like we are not able to let go of things. So it may appear, but then it is not truth. Because as we saw, when we let go of things, we are actually letting go of so many negative things, negative feelings and everything. So then it is actually doing good to ourselves. So it, to others it may appear, but then it is not. So so why is it difficult to let go? So as I asked in the beginning, you said that, like, you have certain things that is holding you back, and that's why you said so many feelings that you feel about it. So we understand that it is difficult to let go. It is not easy to forgive a situation, a person, like when it has really deeply affected us. Maybe our childhood was affected by it, and in turn our consciousness, our behavior, our attitude has deeply impacted, that we are behaving in a different way, that we may not even like it at some time, like we may really feel bad about it. So why is it like very difficult to let it go? So is it because that uh, we are trying to, as I said, like we are trying to find justice and we want to prove ourselves, or we don't want to leave that relationship, or so there are certain things that really hold us back. So just 1 minute to screen share. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I thought the screen is shared. Huh. Yeah. So that's how, like when we are in a situation, we just don't want to give up so easily. We feel that it is my right, it is my uh, you know uh, it is my really my need, that I have to fight for it and then I get justice. So um, it is also an illusion actually, because when we actually find it difficult to let it go, when we see that those situations, we could actually sense that i I really don't want to do this. I don't want to keep that hold that grudge against this person. Maybe it is the situation, but then somewhere deep down our false ego says that no, you really have to fight for it. So if you leave it this time, so you may have to in the following times with the same person or with others, you may have to behave the same way. So don't give it up. So sometimes our mind says like, no, fight for it, fight for it. So that's how our mind, our things work. So we are not able to give it up so easily. So still we have to try our own best to give it up, to let things go. So as you can see in the picture, like how holding on to things actually doesn't hurt the other person, or other uh, yeah, the person who had harmed us, but then it does more damage to our own selves. And that's the reason we have to let things go and move on. Otherwise, like if you would think that there are so many instances, like we have happy times and sad times, but then when we see the happy times, it don't last long. So we get some promotion or something that we desire, we achieve, we get maybe some jewelry or something in our life we desire, we long for so long, and then we get it. So we don't feel so happy for a long period of time. It just stays for very short period, and then that's it. Like then we get back to normal routine. But then if it is some sad incident or something, somebody has hurt us, we keep it on for so long. Don't you feel like, are you able to relate, connect to what I'm saying? That if so, you can acknowledge in the chat window. So the things that really people say, people behave, maybe slight body language or something that really hold us back, and that make us to think so much, contemplate, and dwell upon that incident so much that we lose of the present moment. Like we start dwelling on it, like why this person said this thing, did I behave like this, or why, like am I like this? We start imagining things, and we start dwelling upon it so much that we actually forget the present time. So, and that is actually not doing any good to us. If we would see that sometimes we get into depression, and like it goes on for maybe days, weeks, months, and like we would be lost in that. And we find it difficult to get out also. Like sometimes when we get into certain mood swing and something like that, so and then we are like we find nowhere, like it's like a maze that we get stuck up, and like we find it difficult to get out of it. Like sometimes, if you know, like people, not in this generation, not so much so, but then old people, older generation or certain people has so much attachment to their nation or like to their caste community that they don't want their children to get married to other caste or community, and then like they hold on to it for so many years. So like there are certain opinions, certain things that we are stuck up with, and we find it very very difficult to give it up. And at some point, if we know, like there are some people who fight and then they forget why they fought, but then they continue to not talk to that person for the rest of their lives. So what good can it really do? So that's why we have to let go of things, because one is like when we forgive, we are giving ourselves an opportunity to move on in our life, to for a better uh, things to do. Like our focus in life becomes better, and we are able to efficiently render our day-to-day things. And uh, yeah, so that's how it can actually do good to our own selves. And for this, I would like to give an example, because when I said like why we should let go of things, so there is this person, Shurpanakha. She did not let go of things, and how much it actually brought, how much suffering it actually brought in her life, and not just her life, but people who are connected with her family members. So it was a small incident, like how we all would have read Ramayana and we'd know, but then just to bring this particular thing to light, so I like to explain it. So Surpanaka, so she was when she saw Ram first time, she was very much attracted by his personality. So as we know, Lord Rama is very very charismatic person, and he is the supreme Lord. So she saw Lord Ram and she was attracted, and she approaches him, and she tells that and she disguises her form and she goes like a normal woman, and she tells him that how she really likes him and she would like to marry him. But then Rama was took aback from what she said, and he was like, so he took it as a joke, and then he says that see, Lakshman, my brother, is there, so he is a most eligible person for you, so why don't you approach Lakshman? So and then she turns and looks at Lakshman, and then she thinks that, oh okay, so he is also handsome and he is nice. So she approaches him, and like, and Lakshman saw that Lord Ram is joking, and then what he does is like he says that if you will marry me, then you have to become a maid servant, because see, I am a servant of Lord Ram and Sita, Mother Sita. So if you will marry me, then you have to become a maid servant of Mother Sita. So person like you would not prefer that. So why you want to waste your life like this? So Lakshman again, he jokes like this, and then Shurpanakha, she looks at Mother Sita, and like she transforms herself, and she shows her Rakshashi form, and she tries to harm Sita. And then Lord Ram becomes scared, and then he tells Lakshman. So then what Lakshman does is like this bow and arrow, he just um, clips her nose. So he doesn't do anything. So Lord Ram says, she's a woman, so you don't kill her, but then you just protect Mother Sita from her. So then when her nose was broken by Lord Lakshman, so she started bleeding, and then she leaves that place immediately, and she goes to her brother Kara and Dushana. So these two brothers were there in that forest, and she was living her life with them. So these two brothers immediately so that's very interesting that they never asked her, so why this happened. So she's a Rakshashi, and she explains that these two people like people, and they are there and they harm me. So they never ask her that why this happened, but then in turn, like seeing her like this, so they immediately tries to fight with Lord Ram and Lakshman. So they takes the battlefield. So they goes there and with their army. So first they send 14 Rakshasas, and then Lord Ram destroys them, and then so this fight keeps happening, and then so finally Lord Ram could kill Kara and Dushana, the brothers of Shurpanakha. So if we see, so this was very small thing that happened, and then what Shurpanakha did, so she in front of her eyes, so when this whole battle happened, so this happened right in front of her eyes, her own brothers were laying dead, and in turn what she did not give it up here. She went to Ravana, and right in front of the assembly, like Ravana is such a big king, and she goes into the assembly and she starts shouting, screaming that this happened and our brothers are dead, and see, look at my face. So this is what this person did. Lord Ram and Lakshman, they are not ordinary people. So you should. So not just that. So what she knows that Ravana is very lusty by nature. So she triggers that lustiness in him. So she says, Mother Sita. So when we see here, so she actually insults Mother Sita. When she approached Lord Ram, she says, what is this? Like, this lady is very skinny and she is not at all nice, and you better marry me. So because she has disguised herself, so that's how she speaks. But then here we see to Ravana, she says that she glorifies, she starts explaining Sita's form, and she tries to allure Ravana by explaining about Mother Sita. So then he becomes very strong in capturing Mother Sita, so which in turn would put Lord Ram and Lakshman in danger, because Lord Ram will become very much disturbed when Ravana would kidnap Mother Sita. So this was her plan. So when we see this, so it was so easily she would have just given it up, but then she could not. So she could not give up that insult, and that's why she actually developed this anger and grudge against Lord Ram and Lakshman and Mother Sita. So when we don't let things go, and how our mind behaves is like it start justifying its own action, like it is okay to do this, it is it's justifiable because I am hurt, I didn't do anything wrong, and I did all for the good of that person, or I had no ill intention, but still I suffered. So our mind start giving so many reasons to why to fight or why to hold it so strongly. So on the other hand, we see Rama. Sorry. So on the other hand, we see Lord Rama, when Ravana kidnapped Sita, so he was actually willing to forgive Ravana at that moment also. So when when the Vanara Sena, everybody was there gathered and they were ready to fight and stuff. So Vibhishan also leaves his brother Ravana and he comes to Rama. So even at that moment, to Sugriv, to Vibhishan, at many instances, Rama had mentioned that he is willing to forgive Ravana if even at this moment, if he would leave Sita to me, so I would forgive him and I would also protect him. As we see, Lord Rama is a Raja Rishi, he is a king. So, and the duty of a Kshatriya is to protect the citizens and to protect anybody who comes for his shelter. So Lord Rama also, in the similar way, he being the righteous king, he says that if Ravana would give up Sita even now, I can forgive him and I can give him all protection. So that was the mood of Rama. So if we see here, we can see this quality of Rama, how, so though he is a Kshatriya, we say Kshatriya means like they have this fighting spirit and they fight and everything. So here, Rama again, he expresses this quality of non-violence because he is willing to forgive such an offender, like he had kidnapped his own wife, but still Rama was ready to forgive such a sinful person. And Lord Ram also knows that how Ravana is a bad person and he has committed so many sins, but still, like even at this moment, if he would let go of Sita, then I would forgive and give him protection. So this shows his non-violence behavior. Um, and then going forward, so and the battle happens, and then when Ravana was laid dead, Vibhishan was the only family member left, and Vibhishan is supposed to do the final rites. And again, Vibhishan, knowing the cruelty of his brother, he was unwilling to do the final rites. So again, Lord Rama points out that he is a soul, like he is a spirit soul, and the soul is very pure by nature. So he is at no fault. And then he says that Ravana still got punishment for whatever sins he had done. He has laid dead now, so nothing can be more so no other punishment would be worse than this. Like he is already gone, so why you have to do this to him? So now again Lord Rama is convincing Vibhishan of his wrong act of not forgiving Ravana. So because Vibhishan is holding it, because again if we see Vibhishan and Lord Ram, so Lord Ram had been affected by his behavior, Ravana's behavior, but still Lord Rama, even at this moment, he is willing to forgive him and he is accepting him that. So this shows his compassion and his so he's even telling Vibhishan to forgive and let go of this thing. So, and then, so this is about Lord Rama's qualities. So because these qualities I'm mentioning, as it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, so Krishna says mentions the qualities of a devotee. So some of these like non-violence, compassion that I said, I pointed out from this incident is if we can also develop. So these pastime happens for us to understand what we can do, what we should do, and what we should not do. If we see Shurpanakha, she was holding the grudge. She was having so much of anger against the lords. So, and then on the other hand, if we see something really bad had happened, but still Lord Ram was willing to forgive. So, and then there is one more incident we will see. Rama forgave Kaikeyi. So now again, if we see Kaikeyi, she, I actually have very detailed description I gave during one of my other sessions, so I will not get into so much depth. But then, as we know, Lord Rama was supposed to be crowned as the king the next day, but then the previous night this happens, like how Kaikeyi plans and she stops from Rama becoming the king. But still, Lord Rama forgave Kaikeyi. Not just that, so he said he saw her as his own mother. He didn't see much difference between his own mother Kaushalya and Kaikeyi. And similarly, that's how Kaikeyi was also. But then, due to some misguidance and everything, so that's how she reacts. So, and then Lord Ram. When he was leaving the kingdom, because with the citizens and everybody was very happy, they were looking forward for Rama to become the king. But then what happens, like he has to leave the kingdom. So before leaving, he addresses his citizens and he tells that please don't hold any grudge against Dashrath Maharaj, Kaikeyi, and King Bharat, because as we know, like after Lord Ram left to the forest, Bharat, he takes over the kingdom. So he tells specifically not to hold any grudge against Dashrath, Kaikeyi, and Bharat. So this shows again Lord Rama's tolerance and patience. Like such an injustice has happened to Lord Ram, but still he was very steady and he did not take any random decision, and he was even convincing his people that you should behave in this way and you should not hold any grudge. So all this shows his tolerance and patience. And then when King Bharat, he goes to the forest to meet Lord Ram, so that time he takes Kaikeyi also. So that time, like by now Kaikeyi, because Kaikeyi was doing all this to make her son the king. But then when Bharat expressed his deepest sadness and his how painful it was for him to see this, and how he will be also blamed for this act of his mother. So, and then Kaikeyi comes back to her senses. So when Bharat goes to the forest to see Lord Ram, she also accompanies him, and there Kaikeyi speaks to Lord Ram, and she says that how it was very bad from her part, like it was and then she apologizes to Lord Ram. So, and then Lord Ram again, he says that how this is actually the will of destiny. It is of no fault of hers, and it is the will of destiny. So how kind and how much he has accepted his situation. So this is another quality that we should understand, that acceptance. So letting go means that we accept what we are right now in. So unless we accept, we really can't let go of things also. So he accepted that it is the will of destiny. It is not of anybody's fault. So this is acceptance. So as we saw, non-violence, compassion, tolerance, patience, acceptance, and steadiness even in such provoking situation. So these are some of the qualities which actually, if we develop, we can also put it in action, put it in practice of letting things go. So how we can let go of things? So there is this very wonderful quote of Srila Prabhupada: the greatness of a person is determined by his ability to tolerate provoking situations. So this is something that we all have to learn. If we can practice this, then it is something really wonderful, and it would really help us to build that strength of overcoming any hardship. And it can also help us to make spiritual progress, because when we see in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in how one should actually forgive and be steady in all situation. Like I think Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter 9th verse, he says how, I'm sorry, I'm just not able to get the translation. Just give me a minute. Actually, I am not having any notes. Wait 1 minute. Or let me open database. So advancement of a devotee. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest, well-wishers, affectionate benefactor, the neutral, meditators, envious friend and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. And now we understand this is not so easy. It's not so easy to forgive a person. As I said, that if we see somebody who had spoiled our life, who had who's the reason for our our behavior or our however we are, sometimes we see some people who are irritated always. So if we would speak to them, so we may understand that maybe they had a very traumatic childhood, so everybody has, yeah, that's 6.9, the sloka is 6.9. A person is considered still further advanced when he regards honest, well-wisher, affectionate benefactors, the neutral, mediators, the envious, friends and enemies, the pious and the sinners, all with an equal mind. So it's not easy, but then if we can have this compassion, as we saw one of the qualities that Lord Rāma exhibited. So if we can be a little more compassionate, and if we can think, not just see from our own perspective, like not just see our own selves, that I am affected, I am hurt. So rather, if we try to see maybe why this person is behaving like this, maybe there is something about that person past, like maybe they went through something and that's how they are showing this irritation. So if we can for a moment stop and think and contemplate and find out and try to figure out, so then we may understand that okay, so it's okay, that person's behavior, it's not like it's justified, but then it's okay, let me give him another chance. And then as we saw acceptance, so if we can see that this incident or this situation was such that it gave me pain because I had to deal with it. Maybe it is from my past, some of my karmic reaction is, action is getting exhausted. So something I did in the past, and that's why I'm going through this tough situation. So I remember one time Suketi Mataji was saying in her session that one person was asking how we can see it, that when somebody hurts us, so how to see it that we don't get angry with them. So she was giving one very nice example that we all order online these days. So, and some delivery person delivers it to you and that product is not good. So you saw online and you liked it and you purchased, but then the look, feel, so after getting it in your hand, so you didn't like it. So can you really shout at the delivery person? Can you try to explain it to him? So can we really do it? So will it make any sense if we shout at the delivery person? So no, right? So similarly, whatever we are experiencing, so it is from our karma. So we did something in the past and that's how we are experiencing it now. So there is no point in just jumping or just, throwing all the uh, um, all the mistakes, trying to find fault with the other person. Oh, this person is like this, I didn't do anything wrong, I'm all right, and that person only did this to me. So we may try to explain, but then when we understand that there's a reason why that incident happened, why that person is giving me harm, why that person is constantly, maybe if some family members, so we are not able to give it up, sometimes our in-laws or sister-in-law, somebody in the family, so somebody is there constantly, and we understand totally that you're at no fault, and but that other person is giving you a lot of trouble, one after other, correcting you or insulting you or anything. So we may end up thinking that we may not be able to give it up so easily. So it's understandable that it's difficult to forgive anybody like who is actually taking away our happiness. It's very difficult. But then if we start seeing it, if we can start accepting it, can, just because my in-law is not good, and if she is giving me a lot of trouble, can I divorce my husband? Is it even possible? So do I not love my husband? So that way, so we have to accept our situation. So then we can see that we can progress, we can actually get over that painful thing. Otherwise, if we can hold on to it, we can hold on to it for the rest of our lives. But then, as I said, like the other person may not even know, or even in some cases they may know and they don't want to really give it a damn, like they don't want to, they don't care really, they don't mind if you're hurt, if you're, so in that situation, what do you do? So can you still hold on, and what do you achieve by that? So if we can ask all these questions to ourselves, so then we see a reason that yes, like let me not hold on to it, it's not doing any good to me. And then if we can forgive that person, so then we also see that how Krishna is likes that devotee who can give this who has this attitude of forgiveness. There's one other sloka in Bhagavatam, like where Krishna mentions that this act of forgiveness is very, very dear to him. He likes such a person who forgives. So I forgot the sloka number actually. I made my notes. I missed it, so I'm not able to get it there. So yes, so if we want to become dearer to Krishna, so then there is this opportunity for us. Yeah, sorry, I could not get it. Yeah, so if we can forgive others, even if they are so bad, so if we can develop that compassion, so then we can become more dearer to Krishna. So, and it is not so easy, as I said, it is not so easy to forgive somebody who has spoiled our life and stuff. So something that really put us into traumatic situations, so that's not easy to forgive such a person. But then if we understand that the situation, the person, everything is temporary, it is changing, everything keeps changing, so my life will also even my body is going to change at some point. So Krishna is so merciful that at least we remember only this life's, whatever incidents happen, only this life's remembrance we have. What if we had the previous life and other previous lives in remembrances? So it is so difficult to live with it. So Krishna is so kind that he did not give us that, but then he gave us the mind intelligence also. So where with that intelligence we can discriminate, and we can give ourselves some time and contemplate and understand things, and we can get rid of certain hard feelings that we are holding on to. So we can do it with some practice. So so in this Kali Yuga, we understand this Nam Sankirtan, chanting of Krishna's holy name, is the only way to get rid of these misgivings. So whatever is affecting us, so all these things, so in that moment it is definitely difficult. So maybe our in-law, somebody, a friend or family members insulting us in front of everybody, and it is difficult to at that moment. But then if we can, patiently just tolerate that situation somehow or other, and later if we can go back and if we can meditate and pray to Krishna, so we may get solution. So Krishna is so kind. He is in his holy name, he is in his archa vigraha in the form of deity. So in all these forms he is giving us an opportunity to connect with himself. Thereby we get some peace, we can become stable in our mindset, and then we can think and we can act properly. So all these qualities, non-violence. So when we say non-violence, it's not just physically harming somebody. Non-violence also means like hurting somebody by words. So if we can avoid that, so others may do something to us, but then how do we respond? So if we can, or if we also respond in the same way, then there is no difference between others and us. So if we can, because we are practicing bhakti, so if we can develop all these qualities, so then we can become exemplary, and we can teach by example that yes, this person is really good, she can tolerate things, she is not uh, stubborn, or she is very kind and nice. So if we can develop these qualities, then it will do good to us and to others whom we are related to. And it this compassion, if we can develop, then um, again it will help us to progress in our bhakti, being compassionate. So all these qualities that we saw that Lord Ramchandra exhibited, so these are some of the wonderful qualities, and these pastimes really help us to meditate and help us to really connect to our own selves, rather than this always thinking of what I would get, what is it in for me, so how I can derive happiness, so how I can fulfill my desires. So rather than taking and taking, so if we can think of giving, so then it would do lot good, and yeah, good to us and others. So, and this is how our previous acharyas also exhibited the qualities that Srila Prabhupada exhibited. So he went through so much of hardship, not just going from India to US, but then even in US, he went through so much of hardship. There was a person who stole his typewriter, who stole his personal belongings and everything. So, but still, they let go of things. So only if we can let go of things that are affecting us, holding us back, then we can grow actually. So if we see during the winter and stuff, so the trees, they start losing the leaves. So it doesn't mean that the tree is dead, but then after losing the leaf, then comes the spring, and there is new leaf. So similarly, we can also do the same thing to our own lives, that by letting go of certain things that are not good, that are not helping us to progress, that are not helping us to grow in a positive way. So if we can slowly give it up one by one, so then someday we can also become that new leaf of developing all the wonderful qualities. So it will not happen in one day, but then by practice, yes, it is possible. So And thank you all for joining today. I don't know how much it really made sense, but really helped me to meditate on the past times and the wonderful qualities. So thank you all. Hare Krishna. So if there's any question or any comment, suggestion, so we can discuss now. So anything? So thank you all. Thank you. Okay, so there's no question or comments, so we can end the session now. So are you all part of the IYS group, or anybody not there, not connected to us in any way? You can ping here so we can get to know each other. Okay. Okay, then thank you all. Hare Krishna. See you again. Could you please add me to? Oh, okay. Okay, Veena. So let me share the IYS WhatsApp link so you can see if you're there part of the IYS. Let me